So let's have a little chat, shall we? Let's have a little occult chat. This is your host, The Occult View. I went to bed kind of early yesterday, so I'm up kind of early, I should say. So let's have a little chat. My. It's a whole lot going on in the world, isn't it? Donald Trump was found guilty on all 34 counts of falsifying business transactions or something like that. Black men are online dragging Vivica Fox. Jasmine Crockett, the congresswoman who checked Marjorie Taylor Greene with the comments, bleach blonde, butch body, bad built, thing. She's making her rounds and she is monopolizing and making money off of those words now. And now she's becoming a more public figure after doing that. But the black community and other people continue to suffer, right? I'm just, I'm looking at this as an occultist and as a spiritualist. Then you have radical, disturbed people who claim to be Christians wishing for a tsunami. They're trying to say it under the guise of prophecy. They're wishing for a tsunami and earthquake to strike Los Angeles. Let's really have a conversation about a lot of things. And I forgot to mention the whole thing that went on with Kelly Rowland on the red carpet at the Cannes Film Festival. So let's start there. And just as a disclaimer and a warning, this is going to be an unpolitically correct view. Since we're in the, motion of politics right now, since everything is about politics, this is my occult, unpolitically correct view. And if you have an issue with that, then don't watch. If it hurts your feelings, then maybe your feelings deserve to be hurt. It's as simple as that. This is my unpolitically occult assessment and view. Okay? Let's start with the Kelly Rowland thing because I haven't spoken on that. And this is not to discount her experience. But she was over at the Cannes Film Festival, right? And she was walking the red carpet. And I'm going to call an overzealous female security guard was what it appeared to be. She was rushing her off of the red carpet. And she she barely put her hands on Kelly Rowland. And people were accusing the security guard of being aggressive towards Kelly Rowland. But in fact, when you look at that footage, the only person that's being aggressive is Kelly Rowland. Am I lying? Remember, this is my unpolitically correct occult view. Now, or later on, Kelly Rowland came out and said that she believed that the woman's actions were racially motivated, and that is because the other women that the woman had issues with were non-white women as well. And here's my take on it. That woman was doing her job because when you saw that small clip of her and the back and forth between she and Kelly Rowland, the security guard told someone else. They told me to hurry people off of the red carpet no matter what. So she was referring to, I'm assuming, her bosses, that they told her to hurry up and get people off of the red carpet. And the only reason that I think, and I'm only speculating here, the only reason I can imagine that she was told that is for safety precautions, and that is and for Kelly Rowland's and other celebrities' safety. Because we saw what just happened to Johnny Wactor, the actor that played on General Hospital, who was viciously unalived a few days ago when he was coming from work. Somebodies were trying to steal some type of device off of his car. A Cadillac converter or something like that was the device. And when he approached them, he thought his car was being towed, and he asked them, he said, "Are you towing my car?" And they just shot him. So just maybe the security guard was doing her job to make sure Kelly Rowland and the other celebrities got into the festival safely. Because some of those fans can be crazy. But now people in social media are calling for this woman, the security guard, to be fired. Because now all of a sudden they think that it's racially motivated. And the reason that I have a problem with that is because there are real serious issues of a racial matter and other matters that people are dealing with in their everyday life that does not get that type of support. That woman was doing her job. She was doing what she was told to do. There was nothing personal against Kelly Rowland. And I don't give a fluke who gets mad. I remember back in 1998 when the dinosaurs ruled the earth. I was in the process of graduating high school. And we were going on our final high school trip. You all know how it goes. And our trip was to Ocean City, Maryland. And, Ocean City has a reputation for being, racist or whatever the case may be, or prejudice or whatever. But we went to Ocean City. We had a good time. There was no one acted prejudiced or funny towards us. We went to the restaurants. We were treated well. And I'm not discounting that may be true. They said the same thing about the Cannes Film Festival over there in France. I'm not discounting that there's racism. So let me say that for the people in the back who may have an issue, which I don't give a fuck about. But what I'm saying is this. I went on my high school trip and we went to the beach while we were there at Ocean City. And I was veering off into a part a part of the waters or part of the beach or somewhere on the beach, whatever. I was veering off into a certain part, and a lifeguard, he was a white guy, came and said, "You can't go over there." He said, "No, you got to come back. You can't go over there." He blew his whistle and everything, and he was overzealous as well. But he was doing that for my safety. And I knew that. That security guard was doing her job. And I don't think it's fair because some celebrity, I'm sorry, I don't care who it is, that some celebrity gets to dictate if someone else gets fired or not. Especially under those type of circumstances. She wasn't really trying to argue with Kelly Rowland. The only thing the woman said was, "Okay, okay." And she was just trying to carry her up off of the red carpet. Now, was she being overzealous? Maybe. Maybe. But does she really deserve to be fired for that? Because I've seen non-black people do worse things than that to black people and get away with it. I've seen non-black people, whether they're white or not, do worse things to other non-black people or other white people and get away with it. So my whole thing is this. This is my whole thing with it. And then I'm going to talk about what the other things I wanted to address. My whole thing is this, and I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. There are so many things going on in the world right now, and I don't like the fact that a celebrity gets to dictate whether an average person loses their job or not over some BS. They've already put the woman's image out there. No telling what type of backlash she's getting from that. You know what I'm saying? To me, this is more mind control, and it really shows how people are followers. I have a mind of my own. I have a mind of my own, and I typically don't go with the status quo. Like I said, this is the unpolitically correct occult view right now because we're in the season of politics. Vivica Fox. So Vivica Fox did an interview, I believe it was last week. I believe she's getting ready to turn 60. That's a milestone. And in that interview, she said she's ready for love and she's open to interracial, relationships with men. And the black social media people have been losing their mind. Black social media has been losing their mind. They have literally been dragging Vivica Fox, talking about her, attacking her, simply because she said that she's ready for love. Let me just say this, and this again is my own unpolitically correct occult view. 60 is not 60 anymore. 60 is not the same as it was 30 and 40 years ago. It's just not. Now, people can, they can disagree, but I'm telling you what I see and what I know. Hell, 70 is not, the age of 70 for people is not what it was, 30, even 20 years ago. Because people are living longer. There are people that are still working at the age of 70. Hell, being 60 now is probably like being 40. Because technology has advanced with medicines and all types of stuff that's keeping people alive a lot longer. And those are just facts. Now, 30 years ago, I could understand people saying some of the things that they're saying. And it's all right to have your own opinion and your own view. But why so much vitriol for Vivica Fox? Why so much vitriol for a black woman who simply just said she's ready for love? And I'm not trying to make this about race. But why are all these black men attacking Vivica Fox? And some of these black men, they're young. Why are you attacking a woman that's 60 years old? I'm seeing black men in their 30s attacking Vivica Fox. Why? Now, if I were to say something along the lines of what Jasmine Crockett said about Marjorie Taylor Greene, about some of you black men that are attacking Vivica Fox, like how some of you are in your mid-30s and you can't even get that limp old noodle up anymore between your legs and you got to take Viagra. If I said that, I would be wrong. And then they keep trying to compare, and this is the part that really gets me. They keep trying to compare her pictures and what she looked like in the early 2000s and the late 90s to what she looks like now. Okay, the late 90s were 20, damn near 30 years ago. Almost. She's not going to look the same. Why do you expect someone who is 60 years old to look like she did in 1997 when she was in her 20s or 30s? I'm sorry. Why? Why do we expect Vivica Fox to still look the same way that she did when she played in Kill Bill or Soul Food? Or what's that other movie? Is it the I forgot the name of it. That movie she played in the 90s. I can't think of the name of it. But why do some of these men expect her to look the same way that she did damn near 30 years ago? It's called aging. It's called aging. It's called aging. And it's called being a human being. Something that a lot of these men don't know a lot about, it seems like. Now, I understand, and let me play devil's advocate for a moment. I understand that a lot of men are, especially a lot of black men, they are frustrated with Vivica Fox because she said some not so nice things about Kevin Samuels. Okay, I give you that. You don't like what she said about Kevin Samuels. I get that. And they're bringing up Kevin Samuels' talking points in regards to women of a certain age and their chances of finding love and how it dwindles, after a certain age. Well, those are opinions. Those are opinions. I think it's all in the mind of the woman and the man that she or he chooses to be his woman. I don't think that you can um what's the word? Methodicalize. I don't think you can methodicalize love because some people find love at 80 years old. I mean, it happens, whether it's rare or not, it happens. Vivica Fox is still in the years where she could possibly find somebody in this day and time. Because remember, we're not talking about a 60-year-old woman in 1993. We're not talking about a 60-year-old woman in 2003. We're talking about a 60-year-old woman in 2024. And I find it so interesting that all of these black men and black people in general, because I've even seen black women drag her. Like, what's up with that? Why so much vitriol? I understand that you may not have liked what she said about Kevin Samuels and you might have found what she said to be insensitive. Okay, I get it, got it. But the way that you all are dragging Vivica Fox, that really shows a lot. It really shows a lot. You're worried about a sick, and some of these dudes, like I said, were young, and then one of them he said he was in his late 30s. And I looked at him, I said, "You look so haggard to be in your late 30s. Men can look like hags too." And I'm not attacking men, but I'm attacking this ideology that they have and this mentality. And you don't see white men doing this to white women, but you see black men do this quite often. What type of spell work is that they're trying to throw at Vivica Fox? They are throwing some serious spell work at Vivica Fox. What's wrong with a woman that wants to find love at 60? If she was a white woman, and no disrespect to white women or white people when I say this, but if she was a white woman, to the white people that watch me, if she was a white woman, they would be saying, "Oh, right on. Yeah, you can find love. That's right. That's how black men are." But because she's a black woman who has some confidence about herself and she's a little outspoken, it's a problem. I like Vivica Fox. Whenever I've had personal interaction with her on social media websites, she's always been kind to me. And yes, I've had personal interaction with Vivica Fox. I've had personal interaction with a few celebrities. And Vivica Fox was always nice to me. But one thing about it, y'all ain't gonna say that shit to her face, and you're not gonna say it to her on her social media because she will read you for filth. She will read you for filth. Everyone who desires love in the right way deserves to find it. Everyone. And I don't understand why so many people are against, especially so many black men. If you don't want her, and if you're not interested in Vivica Fox, and if you're not interested in her, period, then what difference does it make at what age that she wants to find love? If she feels as though that she's ready for love, maybe, love does come to people late in life. It does sometimes. It's not like she's looking to start her. I could see if she was trying to have children, maybe that would be an issue because she's 60 years old. But I don't understand the vitriol and the hatred that some of these men, especially a lot of these black men, have for Vivica Fox. She can say what she said about Kevin Samuels, so what? Kevin Samuels didn't like half of you all anyway, but you're defending him. I'm just saying, even beyond the grave, he still has his spell work on a lot of you. And I'm not saying this to be shady, but a lot of these men that are talking, a lot of them are not even married. A lot of them don't even have girlfriends. A lot of them are battling issues with their sexual orientation. Come on now. A dude walking around with 2 earrings in his ears, I don't even want no dude like that. That is too effeminate, but you want to talk about Vivica Fox? Make that make sense now. Remember, this is the unpolitically correct occult view right now because we're in the political season. Now, let's talk about Donald Trump. I've never really been a Donald Trump fan. I think I liked him more when he was on The Celebrity Apprentice. I did not like him as president. I did not think it was a good idea if he ran for president because this is what happens when you go into the political arena. I think him running for president brought out the worst in him and the country. I think it caused people to be more divided. And this country has been so divided and so divisive, since probably 2016. Now, do I fully blame Donald Trump for that? No, because people have minds of their own. But having said that, people are definitely obsessed with Donald Trump. The Donald Trump gravy train, especially on The View and other liberal networks, it's really keeping them fed. They hate this man so much, right? They hate this man so much. But the real reason that they hate Donald Trump is because Donald Trump, he has files on all of them. He knows all of their secrets. I'm not saying that his hands are clean because we all know some kind of way he was friendly or connected to Jeff Epstein too. But I don't know, and I don't think they have any records of him going to the island. And thus far, you ain't heard nothing about Donald Trump messing with no underage girls or boys. Thus far. Now, I'm not saying that it ain't, but you ain't heard that yet. And I don't want to hear no bullshit. You ain't heard it yet. At least I haven't heard it. But if it comes out, then I'll say that I'll admit that I was wrong. I don't have an ego when it comes to that. But thus far, we have not heard that, right? These people have been on the, especially black people, have been on the Donald Trump hate gravy train for many, 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 many years now. Do you really think by him being convicted by those 34 counts, do you really think that that's going to affect how the people who really like him, do you really think that's going to affect how they feel about him? It's not. And what really is even more laughable is the fact that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they go to Philadelphia and they met with a community of black people in Philadelphia. You know, Joe Biden is on the road trying to promote his campaign for re-election for president of the United States. I'm not voting for him, by the way. I think he's a horrible president, and I do not like him. And I do not like Kamala Harris either. And I don't give a fuck who don't like it. I said it. He's horrible. And I agree with the Republicans on that. He goes to Philadelphia, right? Remember, this is the unpolitically correct occult view. He goes to Philadelphia, him and Kamala Harris, and they speak with a community of black people. I saw mostly black women. And instead of him addressing the dire issues that are still affecting the black community, including racism from immigrants, disenfranchisement, he's not talking about reparations anymore. He did not talk about the dire financial issues and the dire issues that black people face, especially black women face in this country. He didn't talk about any of that. What he did talk about, though, was Donald Trump. And what did he say? If y'all was to storm the Capitol like those people did on January 6th, you know, trying to playing this neurolinguistics game with them, basically trying to manipulate their minds into voting for him. What do you say? If y'all was if it was y'all that had ran into the Capitol on January 6th, you know, it would have been a different story. Y'all wouldn't be here right now. You know, appealing to the already fear that a lot of black people have subconsciously about Donald Trump getting reelected. But what I found interesting, when Donald Trump was in office, I was making more money in the side hustle that I do that I don't mention. Because most of the men that I did business with who owned businesses and I did business with, they were Republicans and they were Trump supporters. How about that? And they were white. I didn't hear anything that Joe Biden said that would help progress or help the issues that we're facing as not just black Americans, but Americans in general. You go into the grocery store, you come out with four things, and that's damn near $140. I went to the grocery store, when was it? A couple of weeks ago. I bought a piece of roast beef and a couple of other things. Couldn't have been no more than four or five things. $140. And he wants to talk about Donald Trump. Then he said, yeah, he was throwing tear gas at y'all when y'all were having, you know, peaceful demonstrations. But how about crime was not out of control when Donald Trump was in office? And I'm not even a Trump fan like that. I'm not speaking from a place of a Trump supporter. I'm speaking from a place of an unpolitically correct occultist. And I see how the liberals like to pull at the heartstrings and the fears of black people. Then I was watching The View, and Sunny Hostin, she made some statement. What was that statement that she made? It was something about crime and how Donald Trump, he made it more difficult for people on drugs who committed crimes and stuff, and he wanted to the sentences or the penalties were harsher. Well, how about this? Some of them motherfuckers needed harsher penalties. Some of them motherfuckers needed harsher penalties, because you know what has happened now? Now that those penalties have been more lenient and less harsher, people are getting killed. People are getting harmed. Nobody respects the law anymore. Let's bring up Johnny Wachter again. A hard-working man, good-looking man, coming to his car after working, and people are trying to steal his car. He only asked a question and they unalived him. But we're not supposed to say anything about that? And then Carolyn Hennessy, who plays Diane Miller on General Hospital, I was just looking at her Twitter feed. They're trying to attack her because they're saying they should not re-elect Governor, what is his name, Gavin Newsom in California, because he's part of the liberal agenda to keep loosening these laws for these criminals who are on drugs and everything else. And then now, and she was making a point that because she worked with Johnny Wachter on General Hospital, she was making the point that as a result of his bad governing, Gavin Newsom, that this is what's happening now. And people wanted to try to call her out as being racially insensitive. Why? We don't even know the race of the people. But I tell you one thing, if they were black, they deserve to go to jail too. Why you think just because you black, you deserve to get lesser time? If something like that happened to one of your relatives, how would you feel? And I don't give a fuck who gets mad about what I'm saying. So maybe we need to start having stronger penalties for these crimes. It's easy for Sonny Hostin, Whoopi Goldberg, and all of them to sit up there and say, oh, we need to be easier on certain crimes and certain criminals. It's easy for them to say that. They're millionaires. They're living in mansions. They're not dealing with the public like we are every day. They don't have to put up with stalkers and weirdo crackheads and weirdo weed heads and drunks, and they don't have to put up with that. We do. They don't have to put up with the criminal activity that we do, because they probably live in gated communities that are secured. They don't have to put up with the stuff that we do. So while they're over there, and in The View, they talk about Donald Trump every day. Every day they talking about Donald Trump. Every day they're on that Trump gravy train. When are they going to find something else to talk about? The View used to be a nice show, but they need to cancel it now. It is over. Because they do not reflect and they do not understand the average American. They are elitist liberals. They are elitist liberals. You think only Republicans can be elitist? No, they are elitist liberals, and elitist liberals are the worst, especially the black ones. Huh. You know, people of color, and this includes black people too, and this includes Indian people, and I'm not talking about all, so if you take offense to this, then you just take fucking offense to it. I'm going to say this. People of color in general, and just think about this, are always crying about injustice, discrimination, people treating them differently, right? But it's been my experience that most of the people who have in my face treated me differently or discriminated against me, it has always been, number one, another black person, or an Indian person, a brown person. Not so much Latinos and Puerto Ricans and stuff, but black people, Chinese people, Indian people, even Ethiopians and Somalis. They are very discriminatory, racist people at times towards other people of color, but yet they're always talking about the injustices that they face. But then you turn right around and you commit those type of atrocities against other people of color. And of course, not all, but it's been my personal experience watching, especially living here in DC, how discriminatory East Indians are. Oops, I can't say that. I'm sorry. Oops, I remember. I can't call them East Indians anymore because if I do, my play little brother in the UK is going to kill me, so I can't say that. But Indians from India, Chinese people, Korean people, they can be very prejudiced and very, very nasty towards black people. But yet, these are the same people who are always looking for equality and justice when they commit injustices against other people of color. That's just an observation. And we know black people do this towards other black people every day. We can look right here on YouTube and see that. Unless they need to use you for something. Now, Jasmine Crockett, she said what she said to Marjorie Taylor Greene. She checked her. More power to her, as she should have. But now I see that it's all BS and it's all on cap. Because now she has made money off of that comment, that bad built, butch body, bleach blonde. She's making money off of that now. Using race, see, that was the whole thing about the Kelly Rowland thing. Using racism to make money off of our backs, but we don't get nothing out of it. I don't like no Marjorie Taylor Greene like that. I don't like her like that. But making up false claims of racism has to stop. At further evaluation, was talking about her eyelashes, was that really racist? Or are they all in on it? Because now Jasmine Crockett, she was on The View. She was on The View. And they're still talking about, oh, you should have saw them all high-fiving her. Yeah, girl, you told her. Okay, I get it. But what does that do for the black community? What does that do for your constituents? I believe she's from, is she from Texas? Jasmine Crockett? What does that do for your constituents, the black ones and the white ones in Texas that are facing so many hardships? Because you're getting paid because you were clever enough to say what you said in response to Marjorie Taylor Greene's attack on your eyelashes. And I'm not saying she was wrong for coming back at her like that. I'm not saying she was wrong. But what's next, ma'am? What's next? There are people starving. There are people being wrongfully evicted by terroristic landlords. What's next? See, that's the next never comes. That's why I don't depend on the government for my comfort, because they're all in it for themselves. So now she's making money. She's selling t-shirts. She's doing, public appearances on different shows. Now I think she was on another talk show. Was she on Sherry Shepherd last week? She's been doing interviews, making money and everything after this Marjorie Taylor Greene shit. But how does this help the black community is my question. Remember, this is the unpolitically correct occult view right now because we're in the political season. How does this help the black community? It doesn't. It only helps her. And truth be told, Marjorie Taylor Greene ain't thinking about that shit. She ain't thinking about that. Somebody like that does not have a conscience. She is not thinking about that. And you know, that entire debacle between Jasmine and Marjorie, it really gave us an insight into how messed up the US Congress really is, that oversight committee or whatever it was. It really shows how they are even up under mind control. But we keep following this shit. We keep following it, and we keep falling in the same trap. They have been talking about Donald Trump for the past decade. They have been on this Trump hate wagon for the past decade. And you know what's happening? And this oftentimes happens when you keep hating on one person, you're going to make me start liking Donald Trump. Because slowly but surely, when you keep hating on one person, and the thing is, my uncle had a rapport with Donald Trump. I know that may be hard to believe. It wasn't a long rapport. They weren't best buddies, but my uncle kind of knew him a little bit because my uncle was a small business person. He was a drug dealer, but he was a small business person, and he was murdered when he was 25. But he and Donald Trump used to send him stuff, stuff from Trump Plaza and stuff like that, personalized stuff, because he met Donald Trump one time at the airport when he was married to Marla Maples. And if I could find that picture, I'm gonna post it so y'all can believe me. It was an awkward picture, but Donald Trump, I don't think he really likes people and stuff like that, and that's fine. I would rather have the honesty of a Donald Trump than the lies of a Joe Biden. Joe Biden don't like black people either. Huh. Joe Biden's family is also dysfunctional. And I can say one thing, at least let's do some contrast and comparing. And I know this is not politically correct, but this is the unpolitically correct occult view right now, because we're in the political season, child. Compare Donald Trump's children to Joe Biden's. Ivana Trump, when she went, God rest her soul, when she went on to Wendy Williams' show some years back, Wendy Williams said, your kids are very well mannered. They're very well behaved. They're very respectful of themselves. You don't see them in those clubs drinking and drugging. She said, oh no. She said, I didn't play that. You could tell Ivana didn't play with them, and Trump probably didn't play with them either. You had a Gemini and an Aquarius on the cusp with Pisces. They don't play. She didn't play with her kids. And you can see that they did not play with them, even with Barron. Melania is bringing him up very well, too. No matter what you may think about their politics, their personal lives are not in shambles like you see a lot of other political figures and celebrities and stuff like that. Let's be honest. Compare Joe Biden's children, Hunter Biden, to Don Jr. There is no comparison. You don't hear about Don Jr. doing lines. Let's be honest. But the thing is, a lot of people have become emotionally and intellectually deceptive. And that's spell work and curses in and of itself, because you don't allow yourself to see the truth, because you don't want to see the truth about somebody that you think you like. Joe Biden don't care anything about black people. Democrats don't care anything about black people. They never have. They make things as hard as they possibly can for people to get jobs and to find work. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. And I know this for a fact. Unless you're a Mason. Or unless you know somebody, which coincides with being a Mason. So when are they going to get off of the Donald Trump hate wagon and really start having a conversation? They're not going to. Because if they start having real conversations, the skeletons that will come out of that will be so devastating for them. A lot of spell work, a lot of manipulation, emotional blackmail, all of those things is what's going on in this. And trying to keep black people in a place of dependency on the liberal breast. I'm not saying that Republicans are perfect. I'm not saying that and I'm not either. I'm just speaking from a balanced point of view, because I think that it takes both parties to bring balance. This is like an emotional civil war that's taking place right here in America right now. And it's a lot of spell work going back and forth. Anyway, this is the occult view. This is just my assessment on the current events that has been going on right now. And, it's not meant to offend anyone, but it's meant to get people to really look at what's going on in front of you. If you choose to. If you choose to. Anyway, this is the occult view. Signing off. Thank you.